Network. My name is Emily Gomer and am a podcast engineer here. We're excited to bring you another episode of the Aspie Bridge with Suzanne Plumley. So I'll pass it over to you, Suzanne, to whatever we
Thank you,
talking about
Emily.
today.
It's hard to believe how many wonderful episodes we've been able to do so far since January 2nd of this year. It's really exciting to see how all of this, the resources that I can provide for you, are unfolding right in front of you so you have the information. And now you have many people who can help you to go over the bridge. And let's start out with our usual, with all the wonderful people that are out there in the world that are Aspies and autistic level one, depending on which title you prefer. Aspies to me means like a superhero of sorts. We have so many gifts that we can offer that people don't see right away. But with all the wonderful people out there on the internet, especially on YouTube, who are telling you what autism is, you don't need another Aspie woman telling you what it is. Instead, the mission of the Aspie Bridge is to bring you information about different ways that you can go confidently across this bridge back into society, shame free, without feeling like a victim, and learn how to thrive in the society. And today we have a very special guest, but let me tell you, just like when we go and get our hair done and maybe change a color or change a style, we feel refreshed. Well, my next guest, Sue Simon, tells you how you can bring that to your home, how you can bring a refreshing look that brings you peace as you walk in the front door, and tells you how you can feel refreshed or reinvigorated after a long day. So, what I'd like to do is tell you, while Paul McAuliffe and Sam and Sarah Hendricks and Taylor, Temple and Taylor Heaton are telling you what autism is and how you can solve some inner pains and traits that you may be feeling. My next guest, Sue Simon, will help you learn how to change your environment so that it brings the outer peace. So now you have the inner peace that you can learn how to adapt to, and the outer peace. And the two of them together should help you feel like a revived woman instead of feeling uncomfortable in this world. And without further ado, here is Sue Simon. She is not able to be with us, but I did do a recording, so please enjoy this recording, and I will be back with you soon. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for coming back to the Aspie Bridge today. I have a wonderful guest with me today who will tell you all about the mental health, the neuroaesthetics of decor in your home to make your home feel even more peaceful. And Sue Simon is here to tell you a she is a professional designer who can help you understand that putting paint on your walls and doing different things is more than just color and more than just design. There is a mental impact to you. And at that, I'd like to introduce you to Sue Simon, and she will take it away from here and tell you all about what she does for work and how it may impact you in your homes. Thank you. All right, Sue, tell us about yourself.
Well, hello. Yes, I am an interior designer. I own my own business in Vancouver, Washington, which is just over the bridge from Portland, Oregon. So that helps people know where I'm located. I serve the Vancouver, Portland area. And I'm the owner and the primary designer. I have a couple junior designers that work with me, but mostly it's me. And I have a big emphasis on making sure people's homes make them feel good. There's a lot of stuff on TV about how your house should or shouldn't look, and it's all baloney. You can ignore it all. There's only one thing that matters when it comes to your home, and it's you. You're what matters. What do you like? What makes you happy? What makes you feel peaceful inside? Your home really should be your haven, kind of your escape, because the world is a little crazy, and it's even harder sometimes to process when you're managing different types of stimuli that might irritate you. Everybody processes a little bit different, and
Yeah.
everybody's home should be a little bit different
And
because
with all my women with the sensory issues, they're going to be individuals on what they can handle. And so it's very important that if you work with someone like Sue, you let her know what your sensory issues are. I happen to like a lot of sunlight, but I know many of you may not like as much sunlight. So it's important to speak up. Go ahead, Sue. Thank you for letting me interject in there.
oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I have clients who sometimes they're shy or they're hesitant to talk, and I don't let them get by with that because I need to know how they feel inside. And so sometimes it takes showing people a lot of pictures and photos to just say, do you like this style? What do you like or dislike about this? And we can kind of narrow it down. So if somebody in your audience is feeling a little overwhelmed by all the options, having a professional or just a good friend help them kind of narrow down choices can really be helpful. And there's so many pictures of home decor on House online, a website called House, and then Pinterest, that you can find a lot of examples and eventually find something that's pleasing to your eye that you can kind of use as a starting point. Because not everybody can afford an interior designer. Let's face it, we're not that inexpensive, right? So if you can't afford it, don't worry. There's so much online that you can access now. And just looking through pictures to help you identify what you like or don't like can really help you as you decorate your own space.
Oh, yeah. Actually, is that makes a lot of sense because I am thinking about going around the country with my tiny office, which is also going to be a home. And I found one that was aesthetically pleasing to me. Now, as much as I love Sue as a friend and a colleague on our coffee hour, you're right. You can find something that just feels so peaceful. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And there's the design industry. So I a little background on me. My undergraduate is in art and design. It was a combined major back in the day because I'm old. And then psychology. My master's degree is actually in psychology. And that is why I'm especially interested on how our home environments impact us, because they do. And now the design community is figuring that out finally, that this is something to pay attention to. Again, ignore what you see on TV. Everything doesn't have to be white and gray. There's just so many different appealing things when it comes to what's around us. And we all, as we talked about, process differently. So as you can, I love green in decor. Green, I live in the Northwest. Everything outside is green. I love green. Green makes me happy. I'm wearing a green scarf right now. I have green wallpaper on the wall. I love green. Green makes me feel zen. It makes me feel connected with nature. I love hiking. I love cycling. I love just walking outdoors. I love everything outdoors. So green is kind of my go-to color. But for
I
other
tend to
people,
find that I'm into peach and corals because I love the beachy looks. I'm very much a beachy color tone person, which I know you're going to talk about color after, but you think of all the pastels of the peaches and the corals and the baby blues and such that would tell you they'd be right at home on the beachfront. But go ahead, Sue. I think it's
oh,
interesting.
and that beachy color palette is so calming, right? There's few things more calming than the sound of ocean waves, right? Those gentle lapping waves, not the big giant ones, but the gentle lapping ones. It's so calming, or a bubbling stream. Anything near water, the ocean can be very calming, and that color palette is very calming. There's certain colors that are certainly more calming than others. Peaches and pinks are the most calming, actually. So that you like the peaches and the corals, those are calming tones.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's why I gravitate. I've had 4 kitchens that I moved into, and immediately the kitchen was peach because it can be a more stressful area. But I find that when I had peach on the wall, it was very calming to me because the kitchen can be stressful if you're Aspie and it's like trying to figure out what you're going to cook for dinner. But you walk into a peach colored room, it's like, okay. Is that kind of what you're talking about as far as it
Absolutely.
just?
And hey, I'm not Aspie, and I walk into my kitchen and go, what am I going to cook for dinner? And it's overwhelming. I just get tired of having to think of something every day to make. It's a lot, right?
It is a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
calming colors. I actually have my kitchen in this very soft, I call it a grayish. It's gray and beige together, and it's also very calming. And it does help me focus more because when I have color around me, I look at it, I get distracted by it. So my kitchen is one area I don't have as much color. The rest of my house has a bunch, but yeah, we all have to figure out what makes us feel good in the space we're using it in, and different spaces require different things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're, say, in an office space and you need to create, then having a little more vivid color, having some natural light and some plants, those are things that tend to really help people be more creative. If you need to be more calming, if your job stresses you out, then you don't want any bright colors in there. You want more calming colors. So it's what you put around you depends on your situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd like to learn more about those productive colors at times.
Yeah, so yeah, we can talk a little bit about color psychology because it is pretty interesting, how colors impact us. And I'd say the most stimulating colors, of course, are red, orange, and yellow. Those are your, wow, look at me. They're very vivid, very stimulating. Some people find yellow in particular to be very irritating, though. Of all the colors, it's the one that can make people feel the most stressed. I think because
Wow.
it's just so bright, it can cause people stress. So you have to be careful if you're prone to stress. Make sure if your room's yellow that it's not adding to your stress. You might want to try a different color.
Let me ask you a question too while I have you right at that point. I have a wall that I look at right here, and it's a brick wall. And the texture of brick is calming to me. Are there different textures that
Yeah,
would be more common than other textures? Like, I'm not as good about stucco because it's not smooth, and I like a smooth surface. So, are there textures that might be just like colors be more disadvantage or advantage over others?
absolutely. And that kind of brings me a little bit to biophilic design. So biophilic design is just bringing kind of the outside nature into our homes. And a lot of that is through texture. Think about wood. Wood has a lot of graining and it's textural. It could be rough or it can be smooth, but that graining, even if it's smooth, has like a visual texture to it. And
Mm.
plants also, a plant in a home can be extremely soothing. Again, it's textural, but it's also, we're born of the earth, right? We're born of all the same organic elements that make up our earth. So we are tied to it. So bringing a little of the outside inside makes us feel calming. And sometimes for people who are drawn to the ocean or a lake, those colors are blue. You know, outside it's just green and brown. There's a lot of blue, and then there's a lot of colors too. But the greens and the blues are kind of the more prevalent, right? And they tend to calm people because they connect us to where we are organically from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something to think about. And then the textures, I mean, if you look outside, it's all texture, right? Everything's texture, the leaves on the trees, the bark, the grass, it's the waves in the ocean. It's texture, it's gentle softness that is everywhere. I have a lot of clients, Asperger's or not, that really love having a big, soft, comfy throw blanket. And
Mhm.
they'll have several for wherever they sit, because there's just something beautiful about wrapping up in something soft and
Mhm.
feeling that closure around you and that protection. It's a comfort, and it's a comfort that we have from the time we're little, right? We just don't,
That's right.
you're a grown up, don't throw your blankets away.
Now I'm big on naps with Sherpa.
There you go. Perfect. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I have one blanket that's so fuzzy, I can't keep my dog out of it. He just loves it. I think he thinks it's like a big dog and he just wants to bury himself. He's a little
Yeah.
bit into it. It just, yeah. And it's fun and it's textural and it feels nice, right? A lot of it is feel. And there's feeling as in touching, and there's feeling as in how what's around you makes you feel. Very different type of feeling, right? And um I have to say it's really of utmost importance. And people sometimes tend to, who think along more linear lines, say, oh, my environment doesn't impact me. And I say, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Your environment does impact you. I don't care how linear you are. I have a couple. They're two guys. They're a couple, and he is he has Asperger. One of them has Asperger's, and very, very linear in thought and brilliant with numbers. And then
Mhm.
partner is very social and outgoing. They're kind of the yin and yang of each other, right? They're just complete opposites, but together, boy, they can do anything, and they have. They're worth a couple $100 million now. They've
Wow.
been very successful in their ventures, because my client that does have Asperger's, um, he is just brilliant with numbers. He can crunch numbers and see what's profitable and what's not at a level I can't begin to process, right?
Uh,
His
I
partner's
would like to have that brain. I'm more of a visionary. So
oh, yeah, me too, me too. So I'm kind of in awe. And then my accountant is also has Asperger's. And again, she can keep those numbers lined up in her mind. So I can do algebra and geometry, but straight numbers and math, I
yeah.
just, I space out. I can't focus, right? But that's, she can focus. But anyway, I just redid her office, because she's like, I need to make my office nicer for my clients when they come in. And I'm like, and for you, and for
Yeah.
you. She's like, oh, I don't care. So I redid her office, and I brought in some very soft blues and
Mhm.
some soft grays, because they're calming. And also I wanted to bring in blue, because blue is the color of trust. And she's an
Ah,
accountant, and you want your
good.
clients to trust you. But blue symbolizes trust, it always has trust, loyalty, and calm. So those are great things to have if you're an accountant dealing with people's money, especially around tax time when they're all stressed out. So I brought in blues and grays because they're calming. I brought in a couple plants, and got her some updated office furniture. And I was in there 2 days ago to get my tax returns. And she said she was as vibrant as I've ever seen her, smiling. And she said, I cannot tell you how much I love my office space. She said,
That's awesome.
all my clients comment on it, but she goes, but I love it. I just love it. And I didn't think it would matter, but it matters. So that's just an example of just a few changes. We're talking about paint for the most part. And
Well, and fabrics too. I when you said blue, I'm like, wow, maybe that's why I love my blue sofa. Is I
yeah,
just get in that and I curl up. But now, as far as the texture, I love velour. I used to have this
uh,
recliner that I just soaked in and felt like it was a big teddy bear. So velour, like a blanket, but like texture, it's like you're right. It's so tells you. I'm not sure if I could. I mean, but now when I sit in a desk chair, I don't want the velour. because I'll fall asleep. So
Yeah, so you can't have that at work or for your office chair, or that would not be productive, right? So yeah, all these things. So where we're at just greatly is impacted by what's around us. Um, so in the big companies have figured this out. So I had mentioned the biophilic design. The big companies, Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Etsy, all these huge companies have taken neuroaesthetic, so artistic design in a nutshell, and biophilic nature, and they're putting it into their offices, their giant buildings. And they're doing this because all the studies are showing that productivity rates go up dramatically when people have natural light, when they have some plants around them, when there's something visually interesting going on around them, whether it's a piece of art or some fun colors and a pattern on the wall. The big companies are doing this, and they're spending millions and millions of dollars doing this. In Seattle, Amazon put these two giant glass spheres. It's right near downtown. They're huge round glass spheres, and it has all kinds of cool designs on each of the sphere sections. And it's all natural light coming in, and there's plants everywhere. And that's where they have their big corporate meetings.
oh
Inside
wow.
the terrarium, basically. They're sitting inside a giant terrarium and they're having their meetings there. Microsoft put a tree house on top of their building in Seattle, a tree house, and they go
A
up there and
tree
they have
house.
meetings in a tree house. It's a
Oh, I
giant
gotta
tree
go
house.
there to see that.
It's just all texture and warmth and natural light, and people feel more creative and productive there, and they feel calmer. And
Mm,
you can put calm, creativity, and productivity together, you're going to have some
yeah.
happy businesses, right? You're going to have some, it's worth their millions and millions of dollars. Apple
Those,
built
yeah,
their,
those are the things that the Aspie culture thrives on, is all of that.
absolutely. Apple built their headquarters, and it's a giant circle. And inside that giant circle is a whole outdoor area. It looks like a
Oh,
spaceship has landed, but inside it's all nature. And all the offices look out over it, and people can take breaks and go walk on the walking paths. I mean, they have, I don't know how many acres, at least a couple thousand, and they can go walk and take a break. And taking breaks is so important for productivity.
mm-hmm.
It is
That
not good to
reminds
sit at
me,
your office nonstop. You shouldn't sit at that desk and
no,
not move. It
about
is,
2 weeks ago, I did that very topic on my podcast of being really aware of where your office is and not being afraid to get up if you find that the noise level is too much. My sister-in-law works at this place in northeastern Mass, where in Boston, but it's Northeastern University, where she's like, people share desks. So you don't really have a desk. You get up and you move to whatever area is productive, and how smart that is.
yeah,
Really, when you can say, well, this area is not serving me, I need to work in a place where there are trees outside. Wow, what a great way of allowing an Aspie individual to not ask for accommodations, just pick up her project and move to another place where we're finding those areas that you're talking about that are just more productive, more soothing. It helps them to keep going and be productive, but it gets them away from the distractions. And I remember you were talking about in your meeting before how sounds and
yeah.
everything in area. Go ahead, go ahead. I just wanted to put
Sounds
that
a
in because these
biggie.
are some things I talked about.
Yeah, sound's a big deal. So your environment, the sound level matters, and not everybody has the luxury of being in a quiet space. I am somebody who is impacted by sound. I get distracted easy. I'm definitely on the ADHD scale and I get distracted very easy. I mean, back in college, I was in the study carrels with the full box around me because I needed to, it was how I could focus. I've gotten better with age. I don't need the study carrels anymore to focus. But I sure did when I was younger. I fortunately outgrew some of that distractibility. But sound, something like traffic noise can make people crazy. And yet for somebody else, that can be very soothing. If they grew up in a city and they're used to the noise of a city, that's soothing to them. Whereas another person is on edge by the sounds of a city, right? So everybody's different in how they process sound. And so headphones are great. If sound bothers you, put on those headphones. Everybody wears headphones now. They're on wearing headphones to be online or or listening to music. It's so common that there's no judgment around headphones anymore. Nobody
no,
looks
I
at
love that.
oh, they have issues with stimuli because they're wearing headphones. Nobody even thinks that. They're going, wonder what music they're listening to, or how
Yes.
they're probably working and listening in on a Zoom call or something. Nobody thinks about it anymore. So use those headphones. Boy, they're amazing how much they can, those noise canceling ones are incredible.
And it's funny, the way you were talking about noise, there are different noises that bother me, and there are other noises that are like so soothing. Like I'm near train tracks and I love the train whistle, but put a car on the road right outside my door that has loud bass and I can't stand it. So I mean, you gotta really know who you are as to what sounds you have. If you don't like the train whistle, you got to be aware that your house is not near train tracks. And I said that about 2 weeks ago. You need to make sure the inside and the outside are going to be, or what comes through your windows if you don't have strong enough windows.
Right. If you have thin windows, the sound really comes through. Not everyone can afford a triple pane window, right? They're expensive. The sound blocking windows cost a lot of money. So yeah, the cheaper solution is some headphones, right? There's
Right.
a way around it, or white noise. I have a white noise machine that I use when I need to block out noise. I have some traffic noise near me, and sometimes I find it distracting. It depends on the day. Some days it's just a gentle hum. Other days, depending on how the wind blows, it's noisier. And so I have a white noise machine that I put on, and that helps me block that out because again, like I said, I'm a little distractible. So I have to
I
be
find
that.
for some reason white noise is hard for me,
Yeah.
but music in my volume.
Yeah.
That's what I find is
While I work because it distracts me too much. I start singing along and forget about it. Then I'm dancing and it's all over from there. Nothing's getting done. But I guess my whole point is we're all different, and just taking the time to identify what works and doesn't work. It's important to take the time. Don't just hide away and go, no, nothing's going to work. Oh, something's going to work. Everybody has something they respond well to, everybody. And finding those things, and not just one thing, multiple things, whether it's color, whether it's texture, whether it's the noise level, whether it's the amount of light in your space. For most people, natural light is essential. And again, we're born of the earth. It's Mother Nature coming in. And you can, whatever religion you are, the fact is we are the same chemical makeup as the planet we live on, right? So there's a connection there. So however you want to spin that to your spirituality is fine with me. I have no comment on that, but it's just we are tied to our planet as human beings, and we're tied to each other. And finding something that connects you and grounds you it's just so important. And there's no more important space for that to happen as to where you live and where you work. That's where you spend most of your time. We can't
definitely
control how the grocery store is, but we can't control, those types of things, but we can control where we spend most of our time.
right.
And
You
find
said that there are some healing powers to different decors too. And
oh,
yeah, I remember you talking about healing powers as to some colors and some designs. Would you like to talk about that kind of thing for any women who feels like I also serve traumatized women? So there may be some designs that can help her create in her home that might be more healing powers?
For healing, it goes back more to finding colors that again, color's the cheapest way to change your decor, right? A can of paint, although it's gotten a lot more expensive, is still your cheapest route to change your environment to make it more comfortable for you. So identifying, looking at colors and seeing how they make you feel is really important. Again, the reds, the oranges, and yellows are super stimulating. But blues, the grays, and pinks and peaches are very calming, and brown is very calming.
I
It's
can
the
see that.
ground, it's the earth that grounds us literally and visually, right? It's just the
Well,
way
look at my background.
there. Yep. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's perfect.
I mean, it has all those colors you're talking about. I mean, this is my scene right here, this little footbridge that goes out on paths. And I mean, I love this background. And it's not, I didn't just pick it because it's an Aspie Bridge. I picked it because it was very soothing to look at the hills and the pine trees and the natural wooded slatted bridge versus a modern. I think for me, a modern texture makes me feel so rigid that I don't
And it's meant to
relax.
actually. So your reaction is kind of what it's meant to elicit a coolness, a kind of a cold, harsh, like we're too cool for school kind of kind of environment, the ultra mod. I have never in 20 years had someone ask for that for their environment at home. It can be
Right.
cool in a museum, like, oh, that's kind of a cool design. That's artistic. I get it. That's nice. But no, ever has anyone asked me to do their home like that. At home, and I do some very, very high-end homes, so people could spend whatever they want. And not, I do also not high-end.
Right.
But people that could spend whatever they want. And it comes down to they want cozy, they want warmth, they want comfort, they want their haven, they want their place to relax. A lot of these people have very intense careers and they want to come home and just detox, just
Mm.
feel comforted, feel like somebody's just giving them a big hug, and that somebody can actually be your house, right? When it's surrounded with things you love. And
I
find
went into a friend's house, and speaking of that, and when I was growing up, well, no, not when I was growing up, when I was visiting her, and she was my Girl Scout co-leader, and her home was very gaudy, goldish, gaudy,
yes,
and glass. And I'm like, I didn't understand because I didn't know yet that I was autistic. Why that bothered me so much? It was like a lot of jewels and rhinestones and glass and gold. And I'm like, I couldn't understand why I was so on edge. Is there a psychology to gold and gaudy and
oh, well, it's very pretentious, right? So
okay?
the there's a soft gold that's matte that is not calm. I mean, it is calming. And then there's the more vivid, bold golds. And again, it ties back to that yellow. Yellow is
Oh,
an irritating color. It's this hyper stimulant, and gold is really yellow, right? Um,
yes.
so it's in that same family. And so, and there's a pretense about it when there's a lot of ornate items. It feels like you have to act perfect and you're scared to touch anything. Oh, I might break something. And it's so fancy that it's not comfortable. And so I have had several clients who bought very big homes that were really gaudy, just like what you described. And they hated the homes, but they loved the view outside because there's a lot of beautiful views here in the Northwest. And so I would go in and basically gut the home, take all the gaudy out, go the opposite, and bring in branchy style light fixtures and calming tones like blues and just completely transform the space so that it was still a very nice space worthy of the home, the level of the home, but not pretentious. A place where
Right.
anyone could just come in and feel comfortable and relax and want to pop off their shoes and curl up on the sofa, just a place that invites people in.
Brings me up to another thing. My grandfather built a house back in the 1940s with the dark paneling. and it was supposed to be the family room, but it was dark paneling, and I'm like, there was nothing that made me feel comfortable about dark paneling. And I know it's a guy's just choice. It
Very
makes me think
masculine.
of a study and such. But I think there are different colors that go into different rooms. Would you say that you want to stick with some kinds of walls that in
Yeah,
certain rooms and not others?
I would, although there are people who love to be surrounded by brown. So your grandpa must have been one of those. And it tends, very rarely is it a female, but it can be. It tends to be more masculine males. Um, really like those dark brown walls and offices in particular. We've all seen those dark brown offices where there's just brown on the walls, brown everywhere, and very masculine space.
And they bring in a couple of plants to say, okay, that will do it.
Yeah, now we femmed it up. Like, not really, no.
No, no, no. Oh,
Yeah, I just did a kind of a very brown kitchen for an engineer, male engineer, and it was his house only, and he just loves it. And I thought it was very bland, but it's very cool. It's very modern, like you were talking about. I guess I have done modern. It's modern, very edgy.
mhm.
I didn't particularly love it. I mean, style-wise, it looks great, but it's not my style. He loves it, loves it. So,
To
well,
each his own. To each his own.
each his own, and that's how it should always be in your home decor. Make it your own. I guess that's my biggest message here today, because I touched on neuroaesthetics, and neuroaesthetics is essentially it's kind of the latest buzzword in interior design, but it's essentially just how we are impacted by our environment. So our brains and our bodies are constantly assessing the environment around it. It goes back to our Stone Age years when you had to do that for survival. You had to be aware of everything around you. So it's encoded in our DNA to be aware of our surroundings, right? It's in there. It's not going away apparently for a long time. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of years it's going to take for that to finally go away, but what's around us impacts us. And we see it out of the corners of our eye as well as dead on. It's there, it's everywhere, and it impacts us.
Can I
So,
ask you a question?
sure.
When you talk about if we are bring in what we see outside that is nurturing, is it better to bring in a silk plant that will give us the emotional high, like lilies? And in certain parts of the country, different plants do well. And I love tiger lilies, but Texas is not a tiger lily. Is it better to give up our favorite flower to get something natural, but it may not survive? Or is it, so I guess my question more is it better to go silk flowers that really make us happy, or is it better to bring in live plants because live is better? What do you think is more advantageous?
So as far as how it impacts our brain and our well-being, there's no difference between a live or a silk plant. Our mind processes it as calming the earth, so it doesn't really matter. So if you do not have a green thumb, don't stress. You can bring in silk plants, or you can. I just forget to water my plants, quite honestly. I have a couple, and they're the hardy ones, but I mix them in with silk, so I have live and silk mixed together, which kind of makes the silk look even more realistic because they just kind of blend. And then I also have quite a few succulents, because you can grow succulents anywhere as long as they're inside, right? You can't grow them outside everywhere, but
Yeah, I kind of killed my succulents.
but
I'm
inside,
here in Texas, and with the heat of the summer, it kind of.
uh,
Oops.
no, but inside, I only have to water them like once or twice a month. Perfect. And
Yeah,
I've
we get hyper focused so on some of our things, and I was talking about that last week. I said, a ficus plant, if it's really hardy, might be a good idea versus
yeah,
something that might be a little bit more difficult. I like the natural rain that will take care of a geranium outside, but geraniums don't really do well inside. So
I do
it's
not.
all about knowing the plants too, I suppose. Is that correct?
It is. And so, but again, how your brain processes a silk versus a live, it's the same, right? Now, the only thing you don't get is, the CO2 processing that a live plant does. But I'm not sure if houseplants makes a big difference in our air quality, honestly, unless you really fill your house up with plants. There's not really a big benefit one way or the other. Just a lot of people just prefer to have a live, but some of us just don't have the green thumb we need to pull off the live plants. But again, it doesn't matter. You will get the same feeling from a live and versus a non. It'll affect you basically the same way as far as kind of making you feel calmer and connected. And that's
That's
true
good to hear.
for
Yeah.
not just plants, but bringing in something that's kind of appealing to you from an artistic realm, something kind of beautiful to you. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So I may see a piece of art and go, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I may feel moved to tears. And someone else might look at it and go, I don't get it. But it's my house.
I'm
So I don't care if you get it or not, right?
right.
You find something really beautiful that you're drawn to, that makes you happy when you look at it. When I walk by my art, it makes me feel good. And then a lot of this is processed at a subconscious level. It's not like every time I walk around my house, I'm consciously processing everything. Oh, that plant makes me feel this way. Oh, that art makes me feel this way. Oh, my floor color makes me feel this way. No, it's
Yeah.
almost all subconscious, right? So
Yeah.
find what you're drawn to and put it in your house and find something cool, whether it's a vase, some pillows, something that have a color that you love. Bring that color in. If you want to feel more creative, bring in some purple or, but just whatever really excites you for color, bring a little of it in. Bland homes can make you feel bland.
Yeah. I am a big Thomas Kincaid lover. And
Bring Thomas Kincaid in, right?
yes, yes. I mean the pictures that you feel like you could just jump through the pictures and escape are some of my favorites because you just feel so calm. I have a big gazebo on my living room wall, and it's just you go there and you feel like you're already in a sanctuary of sorts. So you're right. I mean, it all is based on what feels appealing. And there are days I'd like to go and sit on that bench and uh, that gazebo. But yeah. Now, I have one other quick question for you, and I don't want to take too much of your time. You were talking about HGTV and some of those different shows. Is there anything that, well, I mean, I like to watch the tiny house shows. I've been telling my ladies that I just think that that's a form of living where we're not sharing walls,
Right.
common walls with people. So I'm trying to really inspire the tiny home communities for
Mhm.
these women where they can affordably on their own budget once they get money, get a tiny home, decorate the way they want so they're not having to bring in a roommate that has clashing views. What do you think about trying to meld together a clashing view of what looks good? Do you have any clients where they have opposing views of what should go together? And
Oh,
because
yeah.
some of these women that have to have a roommate, where is the happy medium that you suggest? And then I think that might wrap up our show, but this might be very
Sure.
handy because even a husband might
Oh,
have a different.
I absolutely run into this all the time with couples, that they have different tastes, right? So trying to compromise, and it does take some compromise, there's no way around that, but also carve out an area that's uniquely for each of them.
Sure.
So whether it's their office space or, if you're sharing a bedroom, it gets trickier. You can only kind of do your own bedding and your nightstand and that's it, right? But when you're sharing a little bit bigger space, you can carve out rooms. Okay, so the living room is going to be this favorite color, and then the kitchen will be this, and the office will be this, and the bedroom will be this. And I just tell couples, neither of you get it all. There's going to be some compromise here, and there's no way around it. And I can't magically make you love everything in your home if you have opposite tastes. But let's bring little elements of what you both love into each room. So you can each kind of have a room that you develop mainly that's yours, but then we're going to bring a little something in that the other person in the couple likes so that they're still comfortable in that space. And so,
Oh, what a great way to end that interview. Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see how that could be. I think the hardest part might be the lighting aspect of how much light one likes versus the other one.
it's actually not hard because of course shades will control how much light comes in, and they just have to, when they're in the space, they can adjust via the shades on the windows, and then overhead lights and lamps can adjust it up or down however much you want. And now with LEDs that being dimmable, you can really adjust to your needs. So layers of lighting are very important. So overhead lights and lamps both are
I
nice.
just put in a dimmable switch on my
There you
ceiling
go.
ceiling lights because there are days that I want it higher, there are days that I want it subtle.
Right. It's not just between couples, it's within ourselves. Sometimes we want more light, and then sometimes in the evening we want to ramp down, dim the lights and relax and just kind of get lost in it and the calming effect of that. So there you go.
Is there anything else you can think of that might be highly helpful to an Aspie woman and or her Aspie male or neurotypical male to make it easier for her to come home from work that might be a stressful day and have her feel like she's not having to butt heads with someone else in the house? I mean, now you talked about going into her own space, but that may not be possible if she has kids. Would it
Yes,
still be?
kids.
Yeah, I mean, she can't just say, "Well, kids, you stay with dad." I mean, is there a way that we can help her walk through her door and just feel that calm while she takes care of things until she can get to her private place? Can you think of anything that might be helpful that we can recommend?
Well, I think it comes back to the conversation of bringing in some colors, right, that are calming to whoever you are. Like I say, everyone's different, but calming colors are calming colors. All right, the
Mhm.
grays, the pinks, the peaches, the blues, some greens can be stimulating because they have yellow undertones. Others can be very calming.
But that sage, yeah, sage
Yeah,
is
sage is
beautiful.
calming. Sage is calming. Lime green, not so much. But just
Yeah.
finding that color palette that's calming for you is the first step, right? And it's the least expensive step. And then again, bringing something that's just beautiful to you into your home, whether it's a piece of art, and it doesn't have to be an original painting that costs thousands of dollars. It could be something you found at Home Goods or someplace, but it just has a color palette that feels great to you. Or if you're renting and you can't paint your walls, get some inexpensive art that has colors that you love and hang that on the wall to bring that little bit of soothing in through the colors, and see how far that can take you. Then you can add on more layers as time
One of
allows.
the other areas I said is maybe they should look for a saying, a wall saying. I have wall sayings all over my house that bring me. Do you ever find that you have clients that are looking for a particular wall sayings that inspires them?
Absolutely. Yeah. Those, and there's a lot of fun signs. You can find everything online now, or you can make your own, right? So it's really easy these days to get that. But yeah, word art is very important to a lot of people. So
Is that
have,
getting more and more popular now?
and it's been popular for quite a while. I think businesses picked up on it long ago, and they started putting the big the success signs and motivation and all those signs up. And then it filtered into the homes, right? And so then the home setting became more common for the signs, but it's been around for a while, and I don't see it going away because words are inspiring, and having a saying or a phrase that inspires you or makes you or grounds you, hang in your home. There's no downside to that. Absolutely do
That
that.
might be the answer to helping them walk in to
Mhm.
their home and find that
Or the opposite, have something as you're walking out that focuses you and makes you feel confident as you some uplifting affirmation as you walk out to give you that confidence, like, okay, I can do it, because some mornings you wake up and whether you have Asperger's or not, you're just like, I don't know if I have what it takes today, right? I just don't know if it's in there. But if you have that sign as you're walking out the door reminding you, yeah, girl, you got this, you have what it takes, can really just give you that little bit of boost just to get out the door. Sometimes it's just getting out the door is the hardest part, right?
Oh yeah, I say that. There's another sign that I want to put in my bedroom that says, "Just takes 1 foot to step on the floor to get you going."
That's right. We all go through life and we take it one step at a time, or we should, because if not, we're going to trip, right? And make
Yeah.
mistakes. Don't pressure yourself to do it all at once. It's just one step at a time, and bringing design into your house that makes you feel more grounded and comfortable is one step at a time. Start with something small, then add something else as your budget allows, and let it develop from there, and it will.
It will. And ladies, you can always ask for these things like a home goods store gift certificate to find that sign instead of having other gifts. I mean, ask for people to buy signs that mean that make them think of you and such. I mean, what a great way to kind of, hey, if you feel the need to give me a gift, here's what I like. Kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, it's a way of building our homes out of people that care about us. One way to do it.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So, well, Sue, I want to thank you so much for coming today. I think this is the perfect segue into your whole area of expertise than what I had with Jennifer last week, who was talking about how to get their homes emotionally set so that there's no drama and chaos and such. And then going in and peeling back the layers of our possessions, and the color is, as you say, probably the most important way for these women to find that solace, that spiritual calmness that they need, whether it be the first moment of their day when they're getting up and getting motivated, or the last moment of their day when they're finally able to just put their head on the pillow and say, peace.
Yes.
So I want to thank you for coming today. It's been wonderful. I so appreciate your time. And ladies, if you have any questions, Sue and I are going to put together maybe some pictures on the Aspie Bridge Facebook page so you can take a look at some of the visuals so you can see what, if you need to have more of a viewpoint, because I know we're very visually oriented, we'll put some pictures up there so you can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about. But for now, I want to thank everybody for coming, especially Sue for coming and giving us her expertise. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for coming today. And let me just cancel this out. One moment. All right. What a great way to help you learn how to get your homes at the very core when you're first moving in, know how to set up that home environment with colors, with silk plans or real plans if you have a green thumb, and really relax into your home. Now, next week, I have Dr. Wendy coming back. You met her back in February, and she's going to ask you some questions about, are you ready to move into your own space? Are you ready to take that step forward where no one else is going to be overlooking your every move and helping you? Are you ready to handle the bill payment, the organization of setting up a home? Are you ready to live independently? So please come back next week when Wendy will help you decide whether or not you're ready to leave the parents' house, the community center living, and move into a place of your own. And I know that you'll find that you can do this, and we can help you. And that was a phrase borrowed from my friend Sandra Fox, who was here back in January. And it's true when she says it. We can help you, and you can do this. So I want to say thank you, and I hope you'll join us next week when Dr. Wendy comes back and finds out if you can live independently. Have a great day.